Hello and welcome to Klock Farms. We have a special episode today. I've been given permission to give you a preview of the updated version of the Minnesota Millennial Farmer map by Mapper's Paradise. This is the PC version of the map. And to be clear, I have no knowledge of when this version or the console version is going to be released. While the previous versions of the map that were released were taken off of the mod hub due to miscellaneous issues, I have managed to log over 150 hours in my Let's Play series on this map, and I reached out to Mapper's Paradise and volunteered to help them test the changes and updates that they've been making to the map to get it back released and out on the mod hub. And so I've logged probably 25 plus hours over the last week or so, in hopes of contributing to a solid release here of this map. So with that, my goal is to kind of show off the state of the map by way of a full map tour, talk about some of the more unique features of the map, and I'll try to be as comprehensive as possible. But if I miss something that you'd like to know more about, leave a comment below, and I'm happy to try and answer your questions. And while you're at it, hitting that like button will help support the channel. And if you're interested in more farm sim content ranging from Let's Plays to mod reviews and tutorials, consider hitting that subscribe button as well. With that, let's go ahead and get started. So to start, let's cover the seasons features on this map. This map is seasons enabled, and in fact, Mapper's Paradise has released a Lowry, Minnesota geo that's available on the Giants mod hub, and done a lot of cool things here with seasons. One of the things that they've done, and I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to show it off, but the pool here is covered with a tarp during the autumn and winter months, just to be kind of realistic. So there's a lot of small touches like that that have been done on the map. Let's go ahead and check out a couple of the other cool features on this map. The first of which is that all of the streams and the lake in the middle here have been given a frozen ice texture. And so as you can see, the lake here in the middle of the map is also frozen over with an ice texture. One of the winter features is that the pits where you dump your corn are covered with snow here. That is on purpose. A lot of maps just automatically have every trigger on the map cleared. Here, this is designed to be more realistic, where you would actually need to clear this off with a plow or something to be able to use it. Similarly, some of the sell points on the map are going to be covered in snow as well. Like here is the logging area, and you can see the corners have been cleared slightly just to give you a hint of where the zone might be. But you are going to need to clear those areas to be able to use them effectively, really. And you can also see here that the buildings with roofs and such have a snow mask applied, so the snow is not falling inside of any of these buildings that have roofs on them, which is handy. And then also the fuel trigger here has been cleared. And the last thing that I want to cover with the snow mask for seasons here on this map is that the manure pile bunks will also have snow in them, as would be expected since they're open. I think the only one that doesn't have snow going into it would be the silage bunks, for various technical reasons, I believe. Everything else has appropriate snow masks applied to buildings and such, so that you can use them. All of the animal buildings and everything are set up with their water and feed triggers in ways that they work appropriately with seasons. So jumping back into a normal game here, because it's easier to demonstrate things on the map when I don't have to worry about snow. Let's start by taking a quick look at the map here. We're going to, I believe, let's start in the upper left-hand corner here, and we'll work our way around the map. And so I'm going to go into flight mode here because it's going to make getting around a little bit easier to show things off. To start with, we have the lumber area here, and we have 2 sell points, one for the wood chips, and then over here we have a log sell point. And the unique thing here is that for the log sell point to work, you need to drop a log here in this area. And so we've spawned a log here for us to test. And then you need to go up here to this point here. And if you look at the menu here, you've got the option to press R to sell your wood. And so that's something that I know a lot of people were struggling with trying to get the logging point set up. So that does work appropriately here. And then if we come back over here, we've got the wool sell point. And if we just jump up here, you can see that the sell point trigger for the wool is actually up here on this platform. And so there is a forklift here that you're able to use to load your wool up onto this platform to get it to sell. And then right around the corner here, we have a cotton sell point, which the trigger is just on this ramp here. And then over here, I think I already pointed out, we have a fuel station for getting gas. That's one of 2 fuel stations on this map. And then we also have the ATM trigger here, which I don't know that it gets used a lot, but if you are doing a role play or something and you want to have access to that, it is here on the map. So let's head over here, going down this side road here. There are a number of decorative type things on the map that can be sold. This construction site and equipment being one of them. If you go into your garage, you're going to see that there's, at the end of the list, a number of different things that can be sold. This roadworks decoration is one of them. So if I just sell that here, you can see that all of those vehicles will disappear. So a lot of the placeable decorations are like that on this map, which is kind of handy. And so if we continue on down the road here, we've got another sell point here, which is our dairy sell point. And then we have this farm site here, which has a number of buildings that you can use. We have a sell point here, which is our grain buyer sell point. So there's 2 normal grain sell points. We'll cover both of these over the course of the demo here, but this grain buyer sell point will buy all your standard grain types. And then we also have a silo system here, which is not part of your main silo. So if I look at my main silo capacity, and we'll cover this when we get back up to the main farm, these 2 are your main farm silo and your wet bin storage. And so this one doesn't show up in the PDA, but it's designed to be able to give you a little bit of storage for your animals, or just to store something on this end of the map if you need somewhere to put your grain temporarily. We've also had the addition of a bale sell point on the map here. So right here, you're able to sell your bales, and I believe also your silage bales and all the normal types of bales. And then if we head on into the farm here, a couple of the other big changes is, and I showed this off in my previous video, but you can now mow all of this grass here on the farm, both in the main area out here, as well as in the cow pasture. The issues with the terrain being unable to be modified seem to have also been fixed. I did some testing on that. And both of these silage bunkers actually work. And so I did testing on pretty much all the feature functions around this part of the map, and everything seems to be working fairly well. The farm placeables are also able to be sold. I'm not going to sell them because we still have to take a look at the animals. But if you look in here, that big farmhouse can be sold, and all of the buildings and fence and everything can be sold. The silage bunkers are also separate mods that you could get rid of if you wanted to put something else there. And On this farm as well is a water trigger. So this building here is a water trigger. This area right in front of this, I don't even know what to call it, but right over here is where the water trigger is at. And before we take a look at the actual animal buildings and some of the unique things with them, there's a small swamp over here that has miscellaneous junk in it. This junk can be sold as well. If you want to clean up this area of the map and you don't like these particular decorative items. I'm going to point out one other thing, which is there is an island in the middle of this lake. I'm not going to talk about what's out there, but there are a number of secret Easter egg type things around on the map. And so I highly suggest you take a look at that, and maybe at some point in the not too distant future, we'll do a video and show off a lot of the Easter eggs that are buried in the map, because there's quite a few of them, and it's been quite a bit of fun to explore and find those as we've played through the Let's Play series. So, talking about animals, let's take a look at the horse pen setup first. Really, it's pretty standard with just a couple of small things. One is to give them straw and use bales. You need to bring them in here onto this concrete part in front of the shelter. There's a handy dandy little gate here to allow you to get in with a tractor if you need. And horses will also create manure on this map, and so they will create manure here in front of the shed on this concrete pad that'll need to be cleaned up manually, and then it'll also generate the manure bunk like you would expect normally from animals. And so that's something a little bit different on this map. And then likewise, if we look at the cows, they will also generate manure here on this pad behind the shed on this concrete area that will need to be cleaned up manually, as well as in the bunk as normal, and the slurry as normal from the game mechanics. And if you're looking for the bale triggers or the straw trigger for the cows, it is right here in this area behind this gate. And so you can see there's a little bit of straw here. This is where you're going to put your straw, is right through that little gate, or if you're doing it with a tractor, there's a bigger gate on this side that you can use to get through. Other than that, you've got a water trigger, and the only other unique thing about the cow area is that the cows do not create any food spill with this particular setup, so you won't need to clean up the food, but you will need to clean up the manure. If we come right over here, we've got the sheep area, and the sheep work pretty much normal. I don't think there's anything unique about how the sheep are implemented here. You've got your basic food trigger, you've got your wool pellet spawning area, and then the water trigger is over here to water your sheep. If we continue around the map here, and I'm gonna zoom up a little bit so that we can get kind of a view of the terrain. We've got some fairly big fields here. This road along the outside here marks the map boundary, as with this one here on the bottom. And so you've got some fields out there that are just giving you some decoration as you drive along, but these fields on the inside of the road are the ones that you can actually farm. We do have a BGA here at the bottom of the map, and like the other things on the map, the decoration around the BGA can be sold, which I believe is this fence area, and some of these tanks and sheds and such can be sold off. The BGA on this map supports root crops in addition to the standard silage, grass. Apparently hay and straw can go in here, as well as manure and slurry. I did test with a lot of those types, and it does generate digestate here on the front. You can get the digestate right back out of there. Continuing on around the map, we've got a number of fairly decent sized fields here. If we look, for example, at this field that we're above now, you can see that this is a 39-acre field, so fairly sizable field by farm sim standards. We're going to head up here and take a look at this farm site. This is our pig farm, and this farm site doesn't have anything terribly unique about it. The pig structure works exactly like you would expect a pig structure to work here. Nothing special about it. And we've got lots of farms. All of these sheds, lots of farms. We have lots of sheds, and all of these sheds have an appropriate seasoned snow mask on them, including this one here. And for those that played the initial version of this map, yes, the terrain has been fixed on the shed, so it no longer floats in midair. So before we head up and take a look at the main farm, let's jump up to the northeast part of the map here and take a look at a handful of things up there real quick. So to start, we have the animal dealer here, which is this couple of buildings. But the trigger for buying animals has been moved from where it was before. It is now located here, which allows you to bring a trailer in through this gate and back it right up into this trigger. Previously, it was down over here, which could be a little bit tricky to get semi-trucks with bigger trailers through and across this rickety old bridge. So this was a much easier place to get to in general. We have over here our chicken coop that we have pretty much standard feeding and watering mechanics here. So nothing special from an animal perspective. There are a number of Easter eggs in that area of the map to go check out. And here we have the Klock Brothers seed. And this is where you can get your bulk seed, fertilizer, lime, etc. is all right here out of this silo. And then over here we have the DeRoot Sellpoint, which is a root crop Sellpoint. And you're able to use this here. There have been a number of changes here, so people were running into some issues with invisible walls and such in this area. Those were originally by design, but this whole area has been cleaned up to be made more courseplay friendly. And all you have to do is use this control panel to open up the tip doors, and you can sell your crops here in the this tip point there. And all of the invisible walls and such have been removed from this area, and the trigger around this gate opening has been improved so that courseplay and auto drive are going to work a little bit better, hopefully for people who like to use those kinds of mods. Jumping back over to the main farm, the first thing that I want to do is show off the sleep trigger for the house. So I'm going to fast forward here until it is evening. And so if we give it just a second, you know it's evening when all the yard lights and the porch lights come on. Now with most maps, the trigger for sleeping would be the front door here, but not on this map. On this map, the sleep trigger is actually around the back, and you can see that the pool has opened up since we're not in seasons, so there is no cover over the pool. But the sleep trigger for the map is right here at this backsliding door. So that's something that's confused some people. And the other cool thing about it is if we go ahead and sleep here, we get a really cool splash screen while we're sleeping. And, you know, let you know this splash screen represents an area on the map. This is one of the Easter eggs that you can set out to find. And then, of course, because we're here, we might as well feed the dog. There we go. Dog is fed, and he's going to eat. So let's head on over into the farmyard here. And the first thing that I want to show off is the new trucks and trailer skin that Mapper's Paradise has included on the map. So you've got a Lizard Warrior, which has a Millennial Farmer decal on the doors. And a change that's been made to this version of the truck is that if I stand here, I can't enter the truck. The trigger zone for entering the truck has been limited to the driver's side door now, to add a little bit of realism and likely solve some of the problems. There's so many triggers around here between this panel, and there's some triggers in there, that this is actually kind of a cool change. And again, there's decals put on the side of the Wilson trailer, as well as on the back mud flaps. So these are kind of cool. I'll definitely be using these in my playthrough, especially the trailers. I really, really like those. Let's dive into taking a quick look at the sheds. These sheds are on the Giants Mod Hub as placeables, which is really cool. And a lot of people had been reporting issues with a lot of the controls that are on the map. So I'm going to bring up the F1 menu here to show how the controls are working for PC. And so you'll see I have three options. Lights 1, which if I left click, I get one half of this shed. If I right click, I get the other half of this shed. And then if I click the middle mouse button, I'm going to open this garage door. Now, one of the cool things is that these are now options in your controls. So if we come into the controls, scroll all the way down to the bottom-ish, and you can see here I can map these to something else if I want. So I have main door open close, which is right now middle mouse button, lights 1, lights 2. I can map these to different keys. And the same with the silo system. So when we get into looking at the silo system, actually had a viewer comment on one of my videos today about whether or not these could be remapped because he doesn't have a keypad on his keyboard, which is common for laptop users and people with specific gaming keyboards like I actually have. We don't have keypads necessarily, so it's good to know those can all be remapped. We have this other shed over here, which is a little bit more manual. Very nice little shed with an automatic door here on the side. These smaller doors are just a left click to open. And you've got all of your normal swing doors and such. And then much like the other one, I have a left click and a right click switch, which does, let me turn off the left click. It does one side, right click does the other side. So these sheds are really awesome little mods. And then if we just head back over here into the main shop area, we have a lot of cool things in here. We've got lights. So I've got a left click and a right click light right here. And it helps when you stand close enough to the light switch. I've got two separate garage doors here that can be opened with the middle mouse button. I've got one more garage door over here that can also be opened with the middle mouse button. I've got a really cool FBN sign up here. And then over here, I've got another garage door a way out. And then also, there's another light switch right here that you can turn on to get these other lights on, which I hadn't noticed up until I was doing some testing on the map. If we come in here, we've got some cool decoration. You've got a kitchen here. You can actually go through the kitchen and come back out this other door here. We've got a light here. We've got a door here. And so a lot of detail has gone into replicating the Millennial Farm site. And we've actually got the office here, which doubles as the vehicle workshop. And so I can push R to bring up the workshop screen, which the workshop trigger area is this stall here where the combine is sitting right here. I think it might extend slightly out here. I can't recall. But yeah, this area right here is where your workshop is. So if you park a vehicle or an implement in this area right here by this garage door, and then you can head into the computer and hit the button to bring up the workshop screen. This door also opens into just a little tiny closet. And then this door opens and you've got your parts room. And then if we go up the stairs here, get out of flight mode, it'll be easier to go up the stairs. We can open this door and actually go into the little apartment here. You've got some stuff. You've got a awesome John Deere bed. You've got some more lights in here, and you can exit out here onto the little balcony here. So this is a really well done structure. I believe this is one of the placeables on the mod hub as well. So if you like these sheds, you can get them on the mod hub. And much like the other areas of the map, there are a number of decoration type items that are here on the farm, including this awesome little RV. These items can be sold, much like the other decorations we've talked about. This would be called main farm decoration, and so you can just go ahead and sell that, and all of this junk around your farm will disappear for the most part. There's a few items that are a part of the shed, which is fine, but that does clean up the yard significantly if that's your kind of thing. So with that, let's jump into looking at the silo system here. Now, I'm not going to do an in-depth review of this in this video because we are going to run out of time. I'll just talk about it at a high level. If I bring up F1, you'll notice that there's a whole bunch of options here. And so when I look at this grain silo system, there's really two separate storages. There's a dry storage and a wet storage, and this is to simulate how this bin setup is run in real life. And so when you bring a truck in here, you can unload either into your dry storage or into your wet storage. I believe this bin here on the side is the wet grain silo. And if you unload into the wet silo, you can then come in and run your grain dryer by coming in here and essentially transferring from your wet storage into your dry storage. At some point, I'm going to do another in-depth video on how all this works because it has changed slightly. But what I do want to cover is that there's now a new course play mode. And the course play mode, if you push keypad 2, you can see this course play mode comes on. And this is for using either course play or auto drive. And what turning this on does is make it so that you don't need to come in here and turn on your augers to dump grain out of a truck and into the bin. It sets it up so that this unload trigger works just like it would in the normal base game. And so you're able to unload without having to operate the grain system, which is really handy. And then there's two other points here on the back that you can unload your grain with. And so this first one, this yellow auger, has now been set up to allow you to unload just like you would normal with the base game. So if you drive a truck under here, you're going to be able to unload it without having to do anything specific. And this was changed to allow, again, people that want to use course play or auto drive to automatically load those trucks. Versus this auger over here, much like the grain system, you have to walk up to it and hit the unload dry silo, and then you're going to hear that start up, and then you'd be able to jump in your truck and load your truck up. And the way these work, these are on a timer, and so this is only going to run for, I want to say a minute or so, and unload into your truck. I don't have the exact times off the top of my head, but it's just long enough to really load a full semi-truck. And that's the same way that the main silo system works here as well, which is, you know, if I turn off this course play mode, if I were to say load the dry silo by pushing 1, it's going to start up the grain leg and then also set it up so that the augers are running out of this pit. It's going to give me so much time to be able to unload this truck. And then when that timer runs out, it'll shut itself off automatically, and you're going to have to start it back up to use it again. And so we'll do a separate dedicated video to how this grain setup works in the new version, and that will also include a detailed demonstration of the course play interactions for both the unload pit as well as the loading auger over here on the side. So let's pivot and talk a little bit about the fields now. So a couple of changes from the original version, and I'm just flying over here to show off, is one small change is that most of the fields now have had their corners rounded out to make it look a little bit nicer when you're driving equipment and, you know, tilling up a field. Typically, you've got a more rounded corner. I don't see a lot of perfectly squared corners and edges in real life. And so these different fields have just been cleaned up a little bit to look nicer, have some more natural curves and stuff to them, which is really cool. And then also, if you're checking back in from the original version, all of the fields are set up now with multi-terrain angle. So that's built right into the map. So you will no longer need to add that yourself, which is awesome. I love when multi-terrain angle gets included on a map by default. And then one other question that I've gotten a number of times that I thought I would just toss into this video is, which fields does the Millennial Farmer actually own / farm on in real life? And so if we jump in here to the map and zoom out, I have purchased the specific fields that he farms around the main farm site in real life. There's a number of other fields that he farms that are located in areas that don't show up in this particular map. But if you're interested, these are the fields that he actually farms in real life that exist on this map. So there you have it. So with that, let's move on to the last section of the map, which is actually not on the map. So we're going to zoom up here to the top end of this field, and this road here on the north end of this field is actually where the map boundary ends. So right here, this road that goes, is this east and west? I don't even know. Yes, east and west is the north end of the map. However, you're able to go to the shop, and so I'm going to go down here. You're able to follow these roads and take it in. There's a shop here, which is where you will go to buy your equipment, where it'll spawn by default. And there's also another sell point over here. And so a lot of people had problems running into invisible walls and such when trying to go to the shop. And so I wanted to take a moment to talk about that, because if I just try to go here, I'm unable to get to the shop. And people are generally frustrated about that. And I wanted to take a moment to explain why that is. So given that this is the map boundary, you typically cannot like go past the edge of the map, right? A lot of map designers do different things to prevent you from leaving the map. And in this case, what Mapper's Paradise has done is kind of cut a section out here. You can see I can go to either side of the road a bit. I'm in flight mode. If I turn off flight mode as well, you can see that, you know, the area that got cut out is fairly wide past the road. This side, you know, a little bit less so, but, you know, it's a field. And so as long as you stay reasonably close to the road, there are no invisible walls. You're just not able to cut through the middle of, you know, random field here to get to the shop. You do have to actually stay on the road. And then there's traffic here. You can turn the traffic off if you want. But if you just come right up and around here, you're able to get to the shop just fine. You're able to move all the way around the shop just fine. You're just not able to cut through these fields to get onto the road. You need to actually, you know, drive somewhat reasonably and follow the road. There's also another way to get through over here. And so you can see there's, you know, these two main roads that allow you to get in and out of this section. And then over here, we have the other sell point, the Lowry CHS sell point. And this has been set up to make sure that you can actually dump the like a large hydraulic type dump trailer will actually work in here. We did test that. And what else is special or unique here? There's just a huge, you know, drivable section here to kind of give the map a bigger feel. There is a train that rips through here every once in a while, so you do have to be careful. And to better support courseplay and auto drive, the railroad arms do no longer have a collision, so that if they do come down, it's not going to cause a crash with auto drive or courseplay. And so real quick, let's take a look at the shop area. This is the Midwest Machinery Company, and if we come here, the doors auto open. It's a wonderful, beautiful shop with a lot of detail. You know, the offices have actually been modeled out in a few spots. You've got your, you know, store point here, and in the back you have the delivery area. Lots of doors to get equipment in and out of here. All of these doors are left click to open, and so you're able to get equipment in and out of here. And then a couple of other small, you know, helpful, unique things here. There is a fuel point back here. I think it might actually be this tank, not that tank. I can't remember. But one of these is a fuel point. And in here you have a forklift for loading pallets. And then you have a telehandler here with this cutter adapter, which is used to pick up the cutter heads, combine heads, and load them onto a trailer. So if you're buying a new head for your combine, you don't need to drive your combine all the way up to the shop to get it on the trailer. You've got this telehandler here that can help you out. And then a lot of people have commented on my previous video about the front loader attachment falling through the floor. There is actually a problem with the base game John Deere front loader attacher. We've tested spawning pretty much, I think, every piece of equipment in the game, and that was the only piece of equipment that would fall through the floor. And so in order to solve this, Mapper's Paradise has just added a different version of this front loader into the game. So there's a Millennial Farmer 643R front loader, and it has whatever glitches with the base game model has been resolved and included in the game so that you can spawn that if you need to. And so with that, I think that's all of our unique features here at the dealership. And so let's switch gears real quick and talk about the known issues on the map. So there are a handful of things that are still known issues that we can't necessarily solve. And so the first issue that comes up often is like, hey, I'm not able to see exactly where I am. You know, Midwest Machinery Company shows over here, but I'm standing over here and all my equipment is just kind of jammed up on the top of the map here. Yep, that's because the map boundary ends here, and all of this stuff actually exists somewhere up north of this. And so if I click on the Lowry CHS and hit visit, I'm going to show up on this road behind the shop. And I'm not able to just walk across that grass. I'm gonna have to walk all the way down this road, all the way over here, and get into the shop to get to my equipment. That is a little bit of annoyance. And so there's nothing that can be done to let you spawn up here as far as clicking on the map item. But there are a couple of workarounds here. The one for being able to spawn up here is just buy a vehicle and leave it sitting somewhere near the shop. So I have this pickup here. I can enter a vehicle and get up into this area. So even if I was, you know, somewhere else on the map, you know, if I just jump over here to the animal dealer, I'm somewhere on the map. I can just come here, click on this pickup, hit enter vehicle, and I am now in the shop. It's a workaround. I don't know if Mapper's Paradise is going to be able to find a better fix for that. I don't expect so, just based on how it works. And so I'm showing this off as a known issue. The other known issue is that when you leave the map boundary, courseplay gets a little bit wonky, I'll say. And so when you're recording a course with courseplay or driving on a course with courseplay, as soon as you cross out of the map boundary, the waypoints for course play are being stored down below the ground somewhere. And so you stop seeing them, but you can still continue to record the course. And what'll happen is that later when your vehicle tries to drive on the course, it has a hard time following the waypoints because they're below the ground. Now, by contrast, auto drive actually works fine, and it'll display its waypoints above the ground, have no problems following it. And I've used auto drive to do grain selling here at Lowry CHS with no problems whatsoever. And so auto drive is a good alternative to course play for automating selling outside the map boundary. Course play will work if you spend some time and you're pretty careful about how you set up your course, but it's going to be wonky and you're going to have trouble outside of the map boundary. The other big known issue / problem that people are running into is with contracts. So let's say I've got a contract here, and I'm just going to look for one that has maybe a little bit less equipment, but that doesn't seem to exist. And I want to do this contract, but I don't have the equipment necessary. So I want to borrow the items. So I'm going to go ahead and click borrow items. And it's going to tell me my items are waiting at the shop. And then I come up to the shop and there's nothing here. What happened? It's broken. Yeah. So the known issue is that all of those items spawn, but then they spawn below the map. And so the easy fix is you can come in here and you can reset the items that spawned with the contract, and you will be able to see that they start showing up here and you're able to use them. It does cost some maintenance on them, right? The maintenance on this vehicle has reduced slightly, but let's be honest, you're borrowing it for a contract, so you're probably not going to spend a lot of time repairing it anyway. So that's one workaround. The other workaround is that you can use a mod called the store delivery mod. This is a mod that's available on the mod hub, and the way that this mod works is if I go back onto the actual map here somewhere, and I'm just going to come out here into this grass field, I can push, what's the keys for this mod? Shift-Alt-S, and you'll see I've got this new spawn point. So Shift-Alt gives me the view, and then if I push S, it's going to put my spawn point there. And then I'm just going to come in here and reset one of these pieces of equipment to demonstrate that this is now my spawn point and where equipment will spawn. So if I were to use that mod and put my spawn point for equipment somewhere on the map first, then I won't have that problem with contracts. And so when I'm playing with my Let's Play, honestly, I tend to put my vehicle spawn point on the main farm anyway, since I would probably have somebody deliver my equipment to me. And so I find that either right here in front of the shop, or even better, back here away from the shop a little bit, if you come out here, Shift-Alt-S, and then when you're buying equipment, let's just say we want to buy a nice, new S790. That's going to show up right here on your farm. Store delivery mod's going to charge me a little bit for delivery. That's fine. It's realistic. And so this is a good alternative to some of the issues that people are having with how things spawn up at the store. If that frustrates you, I would suggest maybe taking a look at that mod to solve that problem. Other than that, those are really the quote-unquote known issues on the map right now, which, to summarize is, some things with course play, specifically outside of the map boundaries, not working correctly. The fact that you can't jump to the map points that are located outside the boundary, and then contract equipment spawns below the map because it can't figure out how to spawn up there outside the map boundary. So, there's a few workarounds for each of these known issues. And so, really, with those workarounds in place, There isn't anything that's game breaking or going to stop you from being able to play the game at this point. I'm super excited to have gotten a chance to share all of these features and kind of walk through the map a little bit and show it off. If you have anything that I missed or you want some more information on, just drop a comment below. That's all for today. Ketter, out.